I didn't really have any kind of intro planned, but you guys rolling.
Rolling.
Welcome to the Greater Good Studio. I'm Seth for 502 Bag Gateway.
I'm Jaimus. I'm the guy behind Greater Goods, the designer and maker.
What kind of thing do you produce?
So mainly like bags and accessories. I started doing bags with old damaged products, old outerwear primarily. And now I'm just kind of experimenting with all sorts of different products really. But yeah, primarily bags.
Okay, sick. And how do you describe your design process?
My approach is very DIY. I'm very work as I go. I don't follow many patterns. It's all self-taught. DIY is definitely my approach.
So obviously this is your shiny and lovely new studio. How do you get into like work mode? If you just like switched on like that as soon as you get here?
It takes me a bit of time. I have to see what I need to work on. Usually it's a mess. I've actually cleaned up today, but usually it's something on the desk that I've left the night before. When I go home, I'll think about it. So when I come into the studio, I'm kind of almost ready to go. But like I said, it's very DIY and like on the spot thinking.
I guess would you say that typically jackets and outerwear is your main
I'd say like
material?
Outerwear, waterproof, synthetics, technical fabrics, I think you call them.
Yeah. Do you have like a bin of just weird Frankenstein stuff that just didn't quite make it?
I've got, I think, multiple bins of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've got a lot of off-cut fabrics, a lot of failed projects, a lot of failed like patterns and designs that haven't really worked out. Trial and error is definitely key.
And do you keep that as like documentation of the learning process? Or like
it varies. If it's really bad, I'll cut it up again. I don't really want to look at it. But if it's not too bad, I'll definitely keep hold of it.
Do you get like geeky about tools?
Yes,
They're like
I think so.
Searches for.
I'm like both ends of the spectrum. Like I'll cheap out on like a razor blade or something, but then I'll like splash out on like a nice pair of scissors.
Okay.
So it varies. I'm more geeky on the woodwork side of things more than the textiles kind of.
Are you going to do more of the woodwork stuff, or is it?
Yeah, I do plan to. I want to kind of blend the textiles and the woodwork furniture element. So yeah, working on upholstered pieces. I kind of want to do like camping furniture.
Of the stuff that's around us now, what's like your favourite tool, and maybe could you describe like a little bit of what happens where? Do you have a favourite tool? Is that like a lame question? I don't know. I feel like
I don't know. Well, I've never thought about it. But over here, I'd say it's probably the saw. I think everyone's going to gravitate towards the saw anyway.
Yeah,
but ironically, I don't really use that in textiles. It's a woodwork saw.
Yeah.
So it's called a Japanese pull saw, and like it cuts on the pull.
Yeah.
Rather than Western saws, I think cut on the push and the pull.
And Western saws like is typically with the little handle at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And like they use this in Japanese joinery, and it's basically super thin.
Okay.
So like when you cut, you don't lose material.
When you're actually coming to make something, are you sewing on both of these machines?
Yeah, primarily. So this was my first one. This kind of done loads. I broke it like 3 times. It went through a hell of a lot. And then when I got a bit tired out, I then bought industrial. I do everything on this, but this only does a straight stitch, so a straight line.
Yeah.
This can do like zigzags, buttonholes, weird decorative stuff. So like even though it's a consumer machine, it's still pretty good.
Okay, sick. And do you actually use the fancy zigzag stitches and stuff, or is that like you just like to know it's there?
Some bits are a bit crafty mum, but some of them are like pretty good. The zigzag's good, but like you get really decorative ones that just don't get. They're just decorative. I wouldn't really use them. Yeah.
Is there a reason it's called water?
Yeah, well, kind of like it. Like I said, I've put it through its paces. It got a bit old and clunky, and I felt like water just suited as a machine.
That's it. And then can you describe a little bit what it was like to learn to sew from scratch?
I don't know, it just felt like something I wanted to do. I worked in clothing stores, surrounded by all this cool clothing, like Japanese clothing, and like everything, I like how it's made and like the process behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks cool, but how did it become this piece? Then yeah, I picked up this machine off eBay. Started making like small tote bags, just learning how to sew. My second name's Tailor, so that kind of ties in.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, just self-taught. And when you start taking things apart, you can see how they're put together. So it's kind of like reverse engineering in a sense, and working backwards. I found that was really helpful.
Has it changed your appreciation for when you go into a store and look at something and you go, this is absolute big trash how this is made? Or are you like...
More the opposite, really. Now I have like a respect for how most things are made. Like a t-shirt to most people is a t-shirt, but I'd say try and make it yourself, and then you'll see like how hard it is to make, just like from every detail, from the different type of stitching.
Yeah.
Rarely I've gone into a store and thought, oh, this is trash. If anything is like, it takes a bit of effort.
You're probably going into quite nice stores as well.
Online, to be honest.
There you go. Very true. Very true. Your raw materials are like, I don't know, maybe used is an unkind word, but used jackets. What's like your opinions on eBay versus Grailed versus Depop? Do you have like one you prefer to go to?
eBay's always been my thing. I've used Depop before, and I've had so many like just flaky people on there. I don't know if that's just my experience or that's universal, but that was from what I had. eBay, I've been using eBay for years, and like I think I know it pretty well. Grailed, I've never used. I've never used Grailed because it was all high end primarily.
Yeah.
So if I'm buying something to cut up, I don't want to be buying £1,000 jackets.
True. Cutting up someone's Rick Owens kid leather.
Those GeoBasket shoes. I'm just making something out of that.
So obviously you've done the stuff with Arc Teryx, which was sick. Did you do the put the newspaper together as well as all the clothing?
Yeah, kind of. So for the project, I hired a bunch of friends I studied with. So my friend Hayden done the photography and lookbook. My friend Sam done the video that was in the store. And my friend Marta done the newspaper. So yeah, I guess art directed that and done a few finishing touches at the end, but Marta works on the layout.
So that kind of blew up in quite a big way. How would you feel if you saw Drake wearing one?
I think I'll have that. I'll see it on Instagram and be like, oh, cool. And that's kind of it. I wouldn't really...
It's not getting printed out. You wouldn't be tempted to like...
I'll repost
it.
it. Yeah. I'll share it, but I don't think I don't know. I don't get a kick from that kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Have you seen anyone like in the wild or like
who's
famous or anything like that?
I done a commission for Jeff Staples.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
So I guess that was pretty cool. I've had a few people buy products in the web store. That's been also quite
what? And you just clock the name?
Yeah. You clock the name, like, oh shit, okay. And then check the email just in case it is them, and it is them.
Did you ever say hi, or are you just like...
Yeah, I write a little, in every parcel I sent out, I write a little thank you note, because it is just like me working on things as well. So I write a thank you note. If you ever want to collab, hit me up.
Oh my God, that's sick if they ever come back to you.
No.
Okay. Having like obviously creepily done a lot of research on you and your output, I know that you do, or started off drawing a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have any time to still do that?
No, honestly, I was thinking about that last night, literally. Like I haven't drawn in 10 months, probably longer. And I used to draw daily, like illustrating was my thing.
Yeah.
Along with graphics. And yeah, time is like, I'm interested in so many things, but you only have enough time in the day,
100%.
Yeah.
Jaimus's Tumblr is really worth checking out. Like, you've been very humble about it, but it's actually really, really incredible. When you're designing stuff, do you sketch it out first?
Weirdly, no. I can't believe I don't do that, but it's because I started just doing hands-on sewing and making. I kind of stuck with that, but I'm working on more projects that are a bit more like technical, so I do have to draw it out before I start experimenting. I'm fortunate to have enough fabrics that I kind of can just go into it. And say I screw it up, it's not a big deal. Is
there any bits of like a jacket you would leave undone? Do you know what I mean? Or like unused? Or does the whole thing usually get used?
The whole thing does get used. It would be, say like really glued seams might not get used.
Yeah.
But then that's like the thin slither. Any offcuts I get put into smaller products, get really patchwork and whatever. But honestly, everything gets used.
Okay, sick. And is that like where the water bottles kind of come in?
Literally, yeah. So like the water bottles are patchworked of all different jackets, but then even the pull tab, the little tab, is where the toggles get looped into.
Oh, sick.
The elastic is the elastic on the jacket. Everything's from the jacket, yeah. And I've got a box of like all the zips, all the toggles, yeah. It's a lot of stuff, yeah.
And then do you get excited like when you find like nice specimens on eBay? You're like, oh, this is gonna be.
If you get a cool label, that's the thing. Like when you get a cool inside label, that's probably the best find.
So just like here and there where they crop up.
Just random pieces. Like there's old Gore-Tex jackets where the inner label was printed on the inside lining, and it's just like this big.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, some cool pieces.
Do you feel like the kind of Arc Teryx and the outerwear raw materials are like key to the Greater Goods brand?
I guess it was the foundations it was like started on. Like just started off with North Face jackets and like Gore-Tex pieces, just because I had an interest in it. But now we've done like knitwear, so it's kind of anything and everything. I don't really know the Greater Goods brand anymore, to be honest. If I'm interested in it, it's something cool, then I'll put it out there. You know, it doesn't have to be Gore-Tex related. It doesn't have to be waterproof.
The whole time you've been doing it, it's kind of just the brand itself is just directly feeding into
literally
from what you like.
Yeah, there's no like crazy strategy plan or like 3-year time plan. It's kind of like, if I like making something, I'll give it a go. If I like it, I'm sure other people will, and I'll put it out there. So yeah, it's pretty much just like a feed of my making in a sense.
And then how important has the outdoors been to you in lockdown?
Pretty damn important. Like I found myself stuck indoors in my bedroom making things, and it's fun, but it does catch up. It does really catch up. So then, I started running. I think everyone started running as well.
Oh my God,
I was one of those. I started running, started cycling, and also joined Flock Scout, which is a bird group. So that's every month we go for a bird watching event or walk. And it's been super, super important, especially how long lockdown's gone on for. It's kind of, if you don't get out, you're going to go insane.
Yeah, pretty much. And did you join them before collaborating with them?
I did, yeah. So I think first walk was probably June, and there was like 15 of us, small group. And then, at the time I was working on the Teryx project, and I was looking for a charity to work with, and it just aligned perfectly. I spoke to Ollie, and he was like, "Yeah, it sounds really good. Teryx now love them. It's perfect."
Yeah, I remember coming down and talking to you at the event. But how did it go for you?
It was good. It was intense. First thing I've done like that. You know, I'm very to myself in my studio. You know, tucked away in the corner kind of thing. But it was good. It was really good to be there and see like the physical output of things. Like I said online, so it's very much just behind a computer screen. So it was weird to be in the space for the whole day.
Like accosted by any like crazy fans or anything like that?
Not crazy fans, but it was nice seeing people that just wanted to see it and chat. Like I wasn't worried if they weren't going to buy the product or anything like that. I was just seeing their interest behind it. It was quite nice.
So there are people who probably think upcycling is a trend, and I guess like there's other people are doing it as well. Kind of feeds into, I don't know, would you call it a movement? And
I don't know what to call it at this point.
And do you think it's, for you and in general, do you think it's here to stay?
I feel like it's definitely here to stay. My whole premise getting into it was never the upcycle sustainability aspect. It was just kind of like, I have this old jacket, I may as well cut it up and use it. And it was kind of like the upcycling sustainability aspect was like a byproduct. I just like making things.
Okay.
And I before doing textiles, I was doing woodwork, and I was just finding my materials because it was cheaper than buying. And also it looks a bit nicer when you make something that has a bit of character, having like a story before. And I've kind of just transferred that to textiles. I think the whole approach is definitely here to stay. Because I think people want more unique things.
That's true. And I guess would you say everything that you make is a one-off?
100%, yeah. It might not be a one-off in the pattern and shape, but it'll be one-off in terms of like color and like the patchwork. And like the overall look will be one-off, The way
that you work seems to me like you decided to do something because you were interested in working that way. Did you consciously clock that it was sustainable? And or is it just
I noticed it? Yeah, I noticed it was sustainable, but it just makes sense. Like if you have old materials, it just makes sense to use them. I feel like if people have that approach to it, sustainability will be a normal thing. Like it shouldn't be a thing. It should just be a natural response. If you see something old and like materials that are usable, it should just be normal to use it. Yeah, and
not necessarily like I feel like there's a lot of at the moment people being like, oh my god, it's our sustainability collection, not being just like, how things should be.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. It shouldn't be
right.
called a sustainability collection. Just be our collection that's ethically made for
Yeah.
once. You know, it's
Yeah.
it kind of dates themselves out if they have a sustainable collection.
And you feel like you're spreading a message of sustainability, whether you're doing it
Yeah.
intentionally or not.
I feel like I am. I think my whole approach to it was to never like force the facts and the sustainability like stats down people's throats. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like if it becomes a normal thing, it's like the jumper you're wearing. Like you didn't buy it because it's like naturally dyed and sounds great, it looks nice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and by that it's just like a natural thought process. You don't buy it just because it's sustainable. I don't think that should be the approach.
Do you have a medium you feel more comfortable in?
As in like pencil, pen, paper.
Sewing, carpentry, graphic design on a computer.
I'm kind of like just like average at all of them. I've never mastered one.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to master one, but comfortable, I would say. That's tough. I feel like I'm average on all of them. I'd say like drawing, pen and paper.
Yeah.
Was my first like craft, so I'd say that.
And did you get into that from like a super young age?
Yeah, it's kind of like every kid draws. I just never stopped at that point. And then, yeah, just something to do instead of like video games. I'll just like, draw instead.
What kind of things are you drawing?
Portraits and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
I think my most like drawn thing is like fruit bowls, like still life fruit
really?
bowls. Yeah, but I don't really share them because people find them boring. But like, it's fruit bowls are just always a thing. Like it's there on the dinner table. So I need something to draw.
Draw the fruit bowl.
Fruit bowl doesn't move and just stays there. So yeah.
Was there any like feature on someone's face or fruit in particular that you're like, fuck, I can never get this right?
Face is the whole damn thing is tough. Like
Yeah.
face is tricky. I'd say like the curve of like a lip is very tricky. Some people think it's like an almond shape, but if you actually draw a lip, it's very tricky. Like you're not meant to pencil in the top lip. It's just all meant to be toned. And your pencil, there's all these like things that just make sense, but you don't think about.
That's quite mad.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I've drawn way less than you, so we'll take your word for it.
I hope that's correct.
And then with the carpentry, you said you were getting back into that and maybe making some little bits. What with the camping furniture? What kind of you're okay to talk about the process on what that involves? Like from are you going to be building the chairs from scratch or?
Yeah, so it'll be like I'll do a lot of repurposing. So like getting the old everyone has those camping chairs that fold out, make sometimes red. Repurposing those, but then I also want to do like the whole thing is unique. So I've got a lot of like old wooden fence panels I'm going to rework and make the folding stools with.
Oh, sick. Wait, what do you mean wooden fence panels? Like
so
literally
they're like cedar
garden
battens. Yeah, so like you get this like it's like fancy fencing where it's like a cedar batten. I got them from like a gardener that was throwing them out down the road.
Sick.
Yeah, and I've still got them like 2 years later. So man, like a lot of them.
Oh shit. Yeah. How much stuff do you just have in your home?
A lot.
Got,
So to get into woodwork, I built like a shed at the back, and it's like a reasonable size. No, I just find wood all the time. So like I was coming back from the pub once, and then me and my friend just like grabbed a scaffolding board, and we just carried a scaffolding board home.
Oh,
because when you see it, it's like you have to take it, because if you're looking for a piece of wood, you'll never find it. It's always when you don't need it, you find it.
Yeah.
So if anything I see, I'll take it.
Just grab it anyway.
Yeah.
Did you say you built your own shed?
Yeah, that's actually on my website, I think.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I've got the whole build log on my website. But yeah, it was a 12-week project in summer. Dug the foundation, built the frame.
Oh my days.
Yeah. All the windows in the front were all sourced as well. So like the front of the shed is just a patchwork of glass.
That's sick.
It was all found. I think over 60% of materials were found. So the cost of the whole project was like a quarter of what it should have been.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest projects. I'm like most proud of, but it's just not textiles related at all.
Yeah, true. And I guess like it sounds amazing, but then it's like, how do you turn that into something people can buy or whatever?
Exactly. It's just like a personal project that I'm really proud of, and it got me into woodwork, which got me into textiles. So it's kind of like the starting point.
Yeah. Is it kind of like your man cave now?
No, it's just a mess at the moment.
Oh, is it?
Wooden tools and just like sawdust everywhere. It's a bit of a dumping ground. It was going to be like a cool setup, but no shed is cool for very long. It's just a mess after like a week.
Yeah, true. The shed's always going to be a shed.
Exactly.
Were you aware of like people that are mad into bags and like carryology and all that kind of stuff before?
No, I had no knowledge of anything like that. I made a tote bag, which is like the simplest bag.
Yeah.
I just like using them because I go like to the shops and like buy a bunch of food and always carry it back. I don't use it for transport or whatever. So I needed it, so I made it for myself, and then realized, yeah, it just picked up. But now I'm aware of like the whole like bag culture. There is a blog called Carryology as well. Yeah. So yeah, now I'm aware of it at the beginning.
And did that kind of blow your mind that there was going to be all these people out there that are like, how much does it weigh? What does it hold? How many pockets has it got?
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised by it because I think everyone's got like a
thing.
Yeah, you know. So I wasn't surprised by it, but I was kind of like surprised I wasn't aware of it beforehand.
Yeah. No. All right, and then I got one last like kind of chunkier question, and then some like just real quick ones.
Cool.
Okay, so the last one is, would you rather win Olympic gold at badminton or fly on Concorde once?
That's huge. You know, I'm like into Concorde as well.
Yeah, I told you I did loads of creepy research for it.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Okay.
What is it about Concorde that interests you?
Just the look of it and how that used to fly. It's crazy, and how inefficient it was. They'd have to buy, anyone who bought a ticket, they'd have to have 2 Concordes ready because the tickets are so expensive and people are so high profile.
Oh my god!
If
Really?
one Concorde failed, they would be able to go on the other one. So that's 2 Concordes. It's like double the price. It's crazy.
Wait, so you'd have to pay for 2 tickets though?
No, but
it would be
the
like,
service is that good that you'd have to. They'd have a plane ready for you if the first one fails.
Oh my god!
Ridiculous. And it'd be fueled up and ready to go. But yeah, as well. I'd say Concorde. Yeah, I'm not really fussed about medals and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Quick fire. 1. When did you start sewing?
January 1st, 2019.
What's your first memory of being impressed by graphic design?
Probably seeing like Tom Sachs' work. I guess that's just how like got into that kind of stuff.
How old were you?
Shit, I don't know. When the
Younger.
first like Mars yards came out, the first ones, I can't remember when that was.
Is there anything that you wouldn't cut up?
Depends if it was given to me or gifted or that kind of thing. But if I bought it, I don't know.
Are you environmentally minded?
I guess by accident, yeah.
Would you ever do a shoe?
Yes.
What is your current water bottle?
The 1 litre one.
Oh yeah, nice. Flock together. What was the last bird you saw?
Probably a kestrel.
That's quite sick.
That's
Where
cool.
was that?
Surrey Hills.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's nice. It was like on the walk back as well. We finally saw it. It's crazy.
And are they meant to be about there, or was it like, wow, rare sighting?
They're about there, but they're bird of prey, isn't it? Like they're very loose.
Quick on the move.
Yeah.
A brand that you want to work with?
Brain dead.
Have you hurt yourself more working with wood or fabric?
Weirdly, fabric.
Oh, really?
Yeah, needles and snapping needles and like scissors. I'm very careful with like circular saws because you have to be, otherwise you'll lose an arm. But like textiles is just scissors and blades. Yeah.
Like, you're talking just cuts or anything like?
Nothing serious. I'm not going to snap an arm doing it.
What are your favourite outerwear brands?
At the moment, Teryx.
The most used part of a jacket?
The big back panel.
Just easiest to make stuff
It's
out
just
of there.
flat and just clean, yeah.
How good is your sewing? Rate yourself out of 10.
Oh, that's tough. I would say like 5.
What's your current badminton racket?
Yonex Nano Ray from like 2018 or something like that.
Do you have anything you're personally trying to buy yourself at the moment?
New sewing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking foot sewing machine.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, the big leather monster.
Is there one thing you could recommend to people watching this?
Yeah, if you have an idea, just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it today or tomorrow.
Did doing all this stuff when you're kind of teaching yourself sewing and woodworking or whatever, how quickly did you realise how much you don't know about it?
As soon as you get into it, like sewing straight lines, good to begin with, but when you get into seams and like instruction, you're on YouTube, just Googling away and searching. You know, I'm still learning today, to be honest. So yeah, it never really ends.
Are you a big fan of YouTube tutorials?
Yeah, I'll say it was my best tutor throughout uni was YouTube.
Oh, really?
Definitely, no doubt. Like, yeah, learn everything from it.
Do you think space is the final frontier?
Probably not. Like, we're always going to keep pushing, and who knows, like, how long we'll last anyway.
I just want to say where people can find you out and follow you.
Yeah, probably Instagram, best spot, at greater.goods, and personal is at Jaimus _. Yeah, and then everything's linked from there.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Nice one. Thanks, man.
Cool.